Devastation and desperation after a pair of powerful earthquakes hit Venezuela at this hour, and this could change by the minute. At least 164 people killed. That's several times that amount that are injured. The magnitude 7.2 and 7.5 quakes are the strongest to hit Venezuela in more than a century. CBS News correspondent Cristian Benavides reports on the desperate search to rescue survivors at this hour trapped in rubble.
Rescue teams in hard hats and bike helmets are carefully searching collapsed buildings in Venezuela, trying to reach people who may be buried alive. Video shows survivors holding each other on the outskirts of Caracas as a pair of powerful earthquakes leveled neighborhoods. This video captures the moment the ceiling at Simón Bolívar International Airport gave way, sending travelers scrambling. The U.S. Geological Survey says a magnitude 7.2 earthquake hit about 100 miles west of Caracas Wednesday evening, followed less than a minute later by a magnitude 7.5 tremor.
The house in some moments was like jumping.
Journalist Tony Frangi Mawad was headed to watch the World Cup when he became trapped in his building's elevator.
I felt it moving and then moving really fast. We just hope for the best, and I started to pray and to press every bottom, waiting for it to open up.
Es un hecho de grave consecuencia.
Venezuela's acting president Delcy Rodriguez has declared a state of emergency, saying the focus is on saving lives. While some people have been found in the rubble, the UN says the level of devastation is overwhelming local authorities.
You got to get people out of that rubble within 48 hours or they won't survive.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio says search and rescue teams from California and Virginia have been deployed to the region.
They have a bunch of collapsed buildings, and so they'll need a lot of help in terms of digging through that.
The U.S. is also sending medical resources and humanitarian aid. Cristian Benavides, CBS News.
So you heard that clock ticking 48 hours so that people can get pulled out and survive. Let's talk now live to Ross Stein, CEO of Temblor Inc. and also a lecturer at geophysics at Stanford University. Thank you so much. So a double quake. This makes it especially devastating. I would imagine because the first one really shook things up and then the second one finished the business in many areas, no?
Yes, in fact, we had a somewhat similar situation in Turkey in 2023. We had a magnitude 7.8 earthquake, followed 100 kilometers away, 60 miles away, and 9 hours by a magnitude 7.7. So the cities that lied between those two faults got whacked twice. So buildings damaged in the first quake often came down in the second.
And so why so much damage in Venezuela in particular?
Well, two things are controlling the story here. One is that while the epicenter is about 120 miles from Caracas, the rupture propagated toward Caracas and actually got very close to Caracas. And just like a sonic boom, when it's coming at you, you get shaken all at once very, very hard. So that combination of factors led to very strong shaking in Caracas. And in addition, Caracas has many more of the buildings. So we're going to see much more damage there because there is simply a vastly larger collection of buildings.
Well, and we know that 48-hour clock is now ticking to get survivors out from underneath the rubble. I would imagine anybody who's putting their life on the line at this hour, including U.S. helpers who are on the way, has got to be worried about aftershocks and how precarious those buildings and what used to be buildings are to pull people out, no?
It takes incredible courage to go into a collapsed building. And one thing that any of us who live in earthquake country should do is always keep a whistle on us. Because if you get trapped in a building, no one is going to try to dig you out unless they're certain you're alive. And you can only yell for a very limited amount of time. You can blow a whistle, which is easily heard for a very long period of time. So that's $1 safety.
Yeah, but what about aftershocks?
Aftershocks are a menace to the recovery effort. They'll continue not just for days, but decades at decreasing rates of activity. Aftershocks don't get smaller with time, they just get more spaced out with time. So yes, aftershocks cause everybody to relive the trauma, and locally, they can cause a lot of damage.
All right, so as those hours tick on, our thoughts with everybody who is putting their life on the line, people who have lost, and also people who are still trapped. Ross Stein, thank you so much for your expertise. We hope to talk to you again on CBS News 24/7.